Hello and welcome to Sasa and Goff Live Recorded.
I'm Sasha.
And I'm Goff, and this is episode number 52, and this week we are talking about our top 3 brushes with greatness. Now, I texted you like an hour ago, right before the show started, and I was just like, what is your definition of a brush with greatness? Because I think, and by the way, I think our dear friend Giuseppe wrote this one. I don't think I mentioned that last week, but anyway. All right, so I was actually on my way home from my parents' house, and I actually Googled, what does brush with greatness mean? Just to make sure that we are on the same page. Because I'm thinking it's just like, okay, anytime you met a celebrity or anything like that. But then it's like, wait a minute though, but greatness could also be something you do or you've seen or whatever. So what'd you think about this one?
Yeah, you brought something up last week where it was not only the brushes with greatness. So when I heard brushes with greatness originally, I was like, okay, so this is like famous people that you've met or I guess great people that you met, but I don't know. I would think more along the lines of famous or some sort of interaction with a famous person. That's where my mind went. But last week you brought something up that was like maybe we also add like an event or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense to me. Like if you've seen something great happen, like you brought up 9/11 is your favorite thing of all time.
yeah.
I was like, okay, that's already going to be your number one, but what's his 2 and 3 going to be? But yeah, just like amazing things that you saw. And so I don't know, I didn't want to go too like it turns out I've met tons and tons of professional wrestlers.
That's kind of why I asked, because I wasn't sure if that was going to be like your 1 through 70 or 1 through 3, and then you were going to have a ton of potent notables. But if you've actually like spoken to these people, that's a lot different than just like, you know, which I know you have. You had the Bushwhackers in your car at one time.
Yeah, and Jerry Lawler. My wife reminded me that Jerry Lawler was in my car. I asked Megan, I was like, hey, do you, like, what stories do I tell you too much that are, like, about meeting famous people or whatever? Because I don't really remember. I mean, I do remember them, but they have to be brought up to me, really. So I sat there and I tried thinking of, like, amazing things. Now, for my top 3, like, events, they're sports-related. So, like,
okay.
That's where I've seen greatness where it stuck out to me. It might be, like, I don't know, like, it could be something like, my friend is a great dad to his children. Okay, that's nothing to me, right? Yeah. Shoot a 3-pointer, Dad. That's what I want to see. So, that was my greatness events were mostly sports-related. And then I tried to do non-wrestling people who I've met.
Okay.
And I do have one wrestling one, but I think it's a cool story, and I don't think that I've ever told it on this podcast. I've probably told it on my previous podcast, whichever
Flips and Bumps.
Was on. Yeah, one of them, my Parks and Rec podcast that I do. But I'm going to tell it again. I think we actually recorded me talking about this story when me and you, when we started this podcast. We did like 3 pilot episodes or something.
Yeah,
it might have been on one of those pilot episodes, so it never got played on the actual podcast. So I don't know.
Okay.
This was a very difficult one for me to like come up with names and to not just try and be like all sports and wrestling people. So I had a difficult time with it, but I have it. I got my list. I got my and honestly, I had a brush with greatness this week that I will tell you in my potent notables. It's maybe not greatness, but it was a interesting time to meet somebody, especially when we were going to talk about this stuff. So
you were getting your prostate checked, weren't you, when you met someone famous? Yeah.
By,
I was thinking when you were asking,
used to play Cookie in the Bozo show. Yeah.
Oh Jesus! When you were asking Megan your brushes of greatness and you were talking about meeting celebrities, did she bring up when she met Billy Corgan like a couple months ago and she was like, "Hi, Billy Corgan"?
That was the first thing that she said. And I was like, cool. Well, like, I didn't say anything to him. And also, I've, like...
What about David Arquette as Bozo?
Yeah. I've almost met Billy Corgan, like, 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
I sat next to him at a WWE Raw event one time. I saw him at a TNA show. Yeah, so that one crossed my mind for a little bit, too. But no Billy Corgan. No Billy Corgan on this one.
All right, well, this day we are recording is Father's Day. And actually,
happy Father's Day.
Thank you. That's the only reason I brought it up. We can move along now.
Yep.
No, but actually, if you are watching on the YouTube, you will notice we are recording remotely again. Sasha, you want to tell us why?
Yeah, that's all my fault. First and foremost, I do want to give a couple announcements before I go into it. One, first and foremost, call us 1-727-266-6469. That's 1-Sasha-666 for 69. We got 2 voicemails this week. Do you want to hear them?
2? I only know about 1, but I have not listened to these. But yeah, let's hear them.
All right, let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to try and play it. We have not practiced this, so this might not work. The first one came from Megan. Let me see if you can hear this at all.
You guys are dumb.
Did you hear that?
Did she just say your guys are dumb?
Yep, that's all she said.
That'll work.
I needed assistance from her to like see how this thing works and like what the messaging happens because of something that happened yesterday, which I will let our other voicemail talk about here. We got a voicemail from a dear friend of ours, and I'll let you listen.
All right.
Hello, Sasa and Goff, live recorded. This is former producer Tony. A peek behind the curtain. I just called this phone number trying to leave this voicemail, and Sasha actually answered the call, which was very awkward, I'm sure, for both of us, because I've known Sasha a very long time, and the last time I think I talked to him on the telephone was probably 15 to 20 years ago, so that was weird. But anyway, I'm sitting here at a campground listening to Limp Bizkit, and thought I'd call in the podcast. I just want to remind the people that the first time I ever hung out with Sasha, we went to a Limp Bizkit concert in like 1998. Listen to this lineup, Goff. I know you're going to be jealous. It was Kid Rock as the opener with Joe C. Mind you, this was so long ago. He was still alive. Second band was Stained before they blew up, and then Limp Bizkit came out, rocked our faces off. It was 1998 at the Aragon Ballroom, and I just want to say I love the podcast. Keep doing what you're doing. Later.
Thank you, producer Tony. I did edit out all the slurs that he was calling all the different minorities. I do want to say that yes, I think we've talked about this concert probably on this show before. That was the first time that I hung out with producer Tony, and we are still friends, even though Joe C died. And that was the connection, really. Kid Rock's Joe C. Do you remember him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First off, Tony, thank you so much for calling him, and that's awesome. Like, I love this new system, so anyone listening, call us. It's great. And then what Tony was just talking about, too, how he's, like, the awkwardness of talking with your friends on the phone. When you and I are having problems before the episodes, we still won't talk on the phone. We'll point through the camera at things, and we'll send text messages. It's just like, I don't know, man. That's the world we live in now, but I'm, like, almost offended now when someone calls me. I'm just like, what the fuck, you know?
I have a friend who I talk to on the phone very regularly, who, like, I never talk to on the phone, but he's, like, the past, like, year, I've talked to him almost every week on the phone, like the actual telephone, which is crazy. Producer Tony, when he called me yesterday, it was, like, I don't know, 8 o'clock at night or whatever time it was, and I look at my phone, and it says Tony, and I'm like, uh-oh. You know what I mean? Like,
no.
Tony, I don't know that he's ever called me before. And I'm like, what is this? So I answer the phone, and it says, to accept a call from Tony, press 1. And I'm like, oh my God, is he in jail? What is going on? Like, it wasn't him. It was a system. And
that's usually like a collect call.
Yeah, and so it didn't cross my mind, like, what it was. Until I hit 1 and I'm like, hello, and it was Tony, and he's like, hey, and I was like, hey to you. What do you mean you're calling me? And he's like, I'm calling the voicemail. like the line, the 7276, whatever the number is. And I was like, oh, so it's connected to my phone now.
How is this gonna work? Aren't you gonna answer the phone like every time?
Well, so now, so that's where Megan's message comes into play. Because then I was like, hey, you call me. Because the other option, it was press 1 to talk to Tony. Press 2, it said to leave a voicemail. And I was like, well, I don't want to leave a voicemail. And so then I had Megan call me. I hit the number 2, and it told her to leave the voicemail. And that's when she said that we are dumb. But
Gotcha.
It was funny because I answered the phone and I was like, are you okay? What's going on? And he was like, yeah, I'm drunk and I'm camping. And this is really weird talking to you on the phone. And I have no clue. Like, I've never talked to you on the phone. And I go, yeah, literally the last time I talked to Tony on the phone, I was arrested and I called him at like 1 a.m. to come get me out of jail. So that
now
was like 2006.
Yeah, he's calling for his, he was calling in for his favor.
Yeah, it was like 06, 07 when that happened. And so I just assumed that like something, I don't know why he wouldn't call his wife, but, and also like so whatever, we know Tony. I was like, I don't know, this was really weird. But then I was like, all right, man, just call back. I won't answer. And then we were thankful for him leaving that message.
That's hilarious.
Besides that, I do. Oh yeah, and by the way, the other messages we've got have been pro CM Punk messages. So you're slowly falling down my top 3, buddy. If you keep those
higher up mine.
Yeah. He sent me one that was just a picture of CM Punk and it said GOAT, and I was like, who is this, Santino? Like, this is horrible.
Yeah, you had to text me to check what the number was.
Yeah. I also put up a merch page. I don't know if you saw this.
Let's
Have you
go.
heard about this? So we have shirts, we have sweatshirts, we have a bunch of stuff, and I'm still putting more stuff. I actually put another shirt up right before we went on air today.
I didn't see that. I'll have to check.
Yeah, so I'm going to say go to sasaandgoffmerch.com and you can get there. I have not bought the domain name yet, but hopefully by the time this episode is released in a couple days, that I will have purchased the domain and set that all up. So I tried to get wellplayed.com. It already exists. I was thinking real quick wellplayed.com, but I'm like, that's pretty long. I don't know. So I think sasaandgoffmerch.com is probably where you're going to be able to see it, unless me and Goff think of something better within the next 2 days.
What about seemingly Sasha and Goff?
No, absolutely not. I'm taking all the merch down. By the way, I don't know how any of this works. So all the shirts are not the like thin shirts that I like to wear that like show off your guns. It's like regular like cotton t-shirts. We have a bunch of different logos and a bunch of different things. If anybody wants anything, I'm not expecting to sell any t-shirts, okay? I'm putting this up for me to buy a t-shirt, and I don't know which one I would like to purchase. But if anybody wants a soft t-shirt or anybody wants any sort of random merch with Goff's face on it or whatever, let me know. And I will do my best to create any sort of merch that we can come up with.
So,
I considered making an 8x10 pillow of Suge's 8x10, but I'm like, I don't even have Suge's. I've never even met Suge. I don't want to sell his pillow like merch and then keep all the money.
He sells one of yours, so I mean.
Yeah, so I don't know. So we have merch now, sasaandgoffmerch.com potentially.
Thanks again for doing that, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, we're getting there. I hope the quality's okay. I've never used this company before, and I've never made graphics before, and all of this is being done thanks to our dear friend AI, who is helping me with so many things. We're all screwed. That AI, we're all screwed. That's their slogan.
Yeah.
Speaking of a brush with greatness, I had a situation this week that I loved it, and I just have to tell you about it. It's completely random. Mike Park from Asian Man Records put out his 400th release this week.
Wow.
And he said, he put an Instagram post, and he's like, what's your favorite release that I did? So I just responded, Blue Meanie's live album, and a bunch of people liked it. And one of the people who liked it was named Chris Candy. And I click on Chris Candy. It is John Candy's son. His real son.
There you go.
Not only is it his son, and not only is he an actor and a musician, he's in a band called the Bull Shannon Band, or Bull Shannon. Bull Shannon is Bull from Night Court.
Oh.
John Candy's son is in a punk band, punkish band that is Night Court themed. And what? And he liked my Blue Media's post. So I just thought that
awesome.
was cool.
No,
2 weeks ago, it was like the drummer of Live liking one of my posts. And now I got
Wait,
John
did you say
Candy's
you
son.
said John Candy's son is in a band with Bull, or the name?
No. It's a
is just...
band called Bull Shannon. So it is
Okay,
a Night
so they just-
Court
Gotcha.
reference. Yeah.
I was gonna say if that guy was in a punk band, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, he's dead. He passed away like 2 years ago or something like that. So.
See, that's why it would be amazing.
Rest in peace, Bull. And then getting to the reason why we are doing this on Zoom is because it is my fault. And I apologize ahead of time because I hate doing Zoom stuff. But my dog had surgery this week. Callie, yesterday was Callie's 10th birthday. And 2 days before her 10th birthday, we had to have surgery. She had surgery like on her chest and her teeth cleaned and all this stuff. And she is a disaster. She is a wreck. And me and Megan are a wreck. I honestly didn't think this episode was going to be recorded at all, but Callie got a little bit better yesterday to the point where I was like, all right, if you want to do Zoom, I'm in. But yeah, she is a disaster. And she's like snapping at us. Me and Megan can never be parents, is what I've learned. Because we are both fed up with Callie to the point where we're like, fine, then you figure out how to go back to the vet. And, we're just like she's being such an asshole and stupid. She can't jump on the couch, but all she wants to do is jump on the couch. She's not allowed to go for walks. She's just angry the whole time. Callie, not Megan.
Okay.
And so she's just like laying on the ground and being sad all day. And we feel bad, especially because it's like her birthday and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yesterday we go, all right, we spent 2 nights in a row both sleeping downstairs in our living room on our couches, which are not good for like neck pain, back pain. You're up every hour. It was absolutely horrible. Day 3, we go upstairs. We take the mattress off the box spring. Now, my box spring, it's like a bed frame, not a box spring. And it has like slats of wood, like every 6 inches or so. And so we're like, okay, we'll sleep on the mattress on the ground so she can just step up. And we're all comfortable now laying in the bed and like it's all going to be okay. And I go, do you think that Callie's going to jump into the slats over there and get stuck?
No.
And Megan's like, she's not that dumb. And I'm like, she's pretty dumb. And so this morning, Megan goes downstairs to like, I don't know, get food ready or whatever for Callie. And Callie stayed upstairs in the bed. And I'm sleeping. I'm totally asleep. And all of a sudden, we hear the loudest crash ever. And Callie's just in the middle of the bed frame, stuck in the slats. By the way, she's got stitches all over her chest. And so, like, she's landing directly on them. So I grab her front legs. Megan grabs her by the back legs. And, like, Callie will bite people and stuff like that. So it's just a complete disaster. And then, like, whatever. She's trying to bite me and Megan because we're both, like, I'm supposed to ice these things on her. You can't ice a vicious dog. Like, it just, it's
Maybe
a
she
disaster.
thinks you're ice and she's trying to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. No kings and no Callies. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, I don't know. By the way, our AC is out now, too. And so they're not coming until hopefully tomorrow to put Freon in my AC. So we're all just like angry. We're not allowed to leave the house. One of us has to stay with Callie the whole time. Otherwise, she jumps up on the couch. When we were able to leave the house, we went to dinner last night. We're like, Callie, you're on your own, you piece of shit. Yeah. We've called her a piece of shit like so many times.
I
and then
can
we
tell
feel bad
you're
about
irritable because you've sworn 3 times already, and that's 3 more than you have like since this podcast started.
Absolutely. And so we're just stressed. And we were talking about, we're like, look, I don't have respect for parents, but I do like know that like that's not for me. I don't have the patience for this, and I will just walk away from a child if I need to.
Do you ever say like mean shit to Callie? Just like, when you're dead, we're never getting a fucking dog again. Like, not those exact words, but like I think Jody and I have had that talk before, like at times, and it's just like, I swear to God, it's like when we're done with Lucy, we're not getting another dog ever. We're getting something like in an aquarium.
I have that thought. Like, I don't want another dog, after Callie. But Megan does. Megan is like, I need to always have a dog. And I was like,
Okay.
all right, well, that's, I guess, when the divorce will happen. And then you can do whatever you want to do. But, yeah, we've both been, like, very rude to Callie and then say something, like, really shitty to her. I'm telling you, all the cuss words are coming out for this one. And then, like, 2 seconds later, we feel bad, even though she is the cause of the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's her fault, and then we feel bad, and we're like, all right, come here, give me a hug, you piece of trash. So that's why we're doing Zoom, and yeah, I don't know. Let's move on. I want to hear about what you got, and I just want to get out of here and go to sleep because I'm so tired.
All right. And, yeah. Again, well, we're praying for Callie, so hopefully she gets better. All right, I do have something for you. I just wanted to, since it is Father's Day, I wanted to ask you one question because this happened to me today, and I was just like, I don't know why I was thinking of you, probably just because we were recording. Does anyone ever say Happy Father's Day to you, just as a grown man? Like if you're at the store? Because someone said that to me, like I didn't even have my kids with me. Like, and they're just like, oh, and you know what? They did say, and a Happy Father's Day, so maybe that works out. Like, kind of like saying Happy Holidays. You're not actually saying Merry Christmas, so you're not offending anyone. But yeah, no, it was just kind of funny to me because it's like, oh, thank you, you know. But it's like I wouldn't have been offended or anything otherwise. But it was just like, because I was gonna I was gonna sarcastically be like, do you and Megan call yourself like dog parents? I hope not, because I just did that sarcastic voice. You're like, yeah, fucker. But anyway, yeah. And then actually 2 questions. Obviously, you have a dad. What kind of do you get your dad like the same kind of thing every year, or like what? Or do you get your dad gifts or what?
Yeah, I get my dad the same exact thing every year. I get him a small McDonald's coffee with 2 creams, and I hand it to him, and I give him a hug and say Happy Father's Day.
Nice.
That's it. That's as far as and then we go out to eat somewhere.
Yeah.
And then I pay for it, and then he leaves me cash in my car because he can't accept it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's as far as we go. We don't really do presents. That's a whole topic unto itself, because like Megan's side of the family is they're presents people, and my side of the family is like pat on the back and like try to have a good day or whatever. I'm not saying that they don't get me presents and stuff like that, but it's just not a big deal to us. As far as dog dad, dog mom thing, I don't say that. I don't think Megan might say that. I don't think she's annoying about it. I don't think she's like, I'm a dog mom, but I think like maybe people have said it or whatever. Or like if somebody asks if she has kids, she's like, no, I'm a dog. I have a dog or whatever. You know what I mean? But no, we don't do that. My mother-in-law does get me a card from my dog for Father's Day. So it says, like, from Callie, like, you're the greatest dad in the world. And I'm like, well, then the bar is low, Callie.
And then you scream at her for spelling, like, you're wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, but, I appreciate that. It's a nice gesture. But, yeah, I don't know.
She's trying.
No, I mean, it's nice. What was the first question? Did you have a question before the presents thing?
If people say Happy Father's Day to you,
yes.
Not knowing you're not a father.
They have,
Okay.
and some people have like caught themselves in a weird situation. They go, "Happy Father's Day, doing anything special?" And then they're like, "Wait, do you have kids?" They catch themselves, and I go, "No kids." And then they're like, "Oh, sorry," and I'm like, "No, I don't care. Like, I get it. I look old. I should. Most people expect you to have children or whatever, but no, I don't. Yes, they say it, but I didn't get one this year, and I'm okay with that. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, because I was actually just thinking. I mean, even if someone does say Happy Father's Day, it's still Father's Day, so it doesn't mean if they're saying it to you. So, okay, just curious.
No offense taken. It's just a nice day, and. We all have fathers somehow. We all got here from a father. George Washington, perhaps.
Damn right. The founding father. It was nice. Went over by my parents today. Got to hang out with Elf from Melmac. He's in from outer space. So, anyway, that's all I have to talk about. Do you have anything else?
That's all. I got nothing.
Okay. So before we get into what we're putting into ourselves, I got something for you. Not a game. I'm actually stealing from your wheelhouse here. I got a bracket for you.
Oh,
I don't know. Yeah. We're gonna do a bracket. And now I wonder. I guess like you folks listening can reach out to us. Do these suck for you guys when me and Sasha are doing brackets? Because maybe let us know. Because like I like doing them. They're fun.
Do brackets suck worse than the regular podcast? That's what we want to know.
Yeah, what's worse?
773-266-6469. Let us know.
Yeah, so you can either listen to a bracket list podcast or a podcast list bracket talk that we can just email you. Okay, anyway, here we go. All right, so in the past we have actually, you know what? Oh, we just mostly did comedians, right? And then I think we just did comedians. That's the only one, right? But we did like two different ones.
We did Al Bundy one. What was it? Actors,
I don't remember.
comedy people,
Comedic actors. Okay, all right. Well, so this is kind of a long net. Sorry, no, I'm just showing. What happened?
Something just fell from my ceiling.
I can see your light in the background shaking there. You okay?
Yeah, it was one of the lights fell from the ceiling.
Oh, jeez. That's
All
not
right.
good. Okay, anyway. All right, so, so this bracket is TV show based, okay? I'm going to get to it in a second, what it's about. But first of all, I think this stemmed from the other day. I believe it was you. You sent me a text message, and it was that link, or maybe it was on Instagram, the one from Coach, the one with him, that outtake. Okay, that was you. All right, good. So when I saw that, it made me just start thinking, because I think I was going to text you back immediately, like, where do you stand on Coach? Because we never talk about Coach. And it's like, okay. And then I started thinking, there's a ton of shows that we don't talk about, 80s and 90s shows, like tons of sitcoms that I love.
Yeah.
32 of them, in fact, that I have listed here. 80s and 90s TV shows, the best shows we don't talk about. All right?
Hey,
so
I
we're just
love
going to... All right, so I already have my bracket filled out. Obviously, I don't need to show you that, but I got one here. So again, there's 32 TV shows here. Now, some of these I was a lot more familiar with than others. If that's the case for you, you don't have to be like, well, I don't know that one. Just pick the one, okay?
Okay.
We're not going to do tiebreakers or anything that because we don't have Joni or Megan here to do that, so we'll just kind of compare them afterward, all right?
You could have You could have asked Joni before all of this.
I could have, but it wouldn't matter if, like, after round one. Because then your picks would be different.
Yeah, good call.
All right, so this is no random, this is all random here. I didn't do any kind of, I just pulled everything from a hat. So, all right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First off, Home Improvement, Silver Spoons.
Ooh, starting off strong. Silver Spoons has a spot in my heart because it was like one of the earliest shows I remember watching. But Home Improvement was like a big deal at the time. I'm going Home Improvement.
Okay. All right, next up. So actually,
I'll agree with all of Tim Allen's political beliefs. So
there you go. That's why I picked him. All right, so this one here, actually, I'll just go ahead. These two just happen to get paired up together. Probably the only two shows on this list that I didn't really watch, but I just needed two extra ones, okay? And those are Mork and Mindy versus Mad About You.
Ooh, okay. I never really watched Mork and Mindy. I'm going to go with Mad About You.
Okay. All right, next up, Living Single, Gimme a Break.
See, that's tough because I was never a Living Single fan, but Megan's been watching it nonstop the past year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it's always on. And
Okay.
I did watch Gimme a Break, but not like religiously. I'm going to go with Living Single. Living Single.
All right, next up, Perfect Strangers, Will and Grace.
Yeah, Perfect Strangers all day.
Nice. Okay. All right, Third Rock from the Sun versus Dinosaurs.
Third Rock.
Okay.
Is that a surprising one for you?
It kind of was. I thought you were going to say Dinosaurs. Okay. All right, and obviously some of these shows we have mentioned, but I feel like we've never gotten into them really. Okay.
Yeah, Third Rock is legit one of my favorite sitcoms of all time.
Never knew that, man. That's why we're doing this podcast.
That's
all right.
why.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper, Herman's Head.
Ooh. I'm going Herman's Head.
All right.
I loved it. I thought that was a very cool show.
Yeah,
It was
it
on
was.
Fox.
Yep.
when Fox had all those like weird, interesting shows, and they weren't just doing normal stuff. I liked Herman's Head.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got another Fox one for you. This is a really weird matchup here. Futurama versus Webster.
Webster. Never saw Futurama, and love Webster. So
That's Webster's the one I thought of because of things we talked about, because you watched an Emmanuel Lewis documentary like a couple months ago or something like that.
no, that was Gary Coleman, but
Oh, okay.
that's on you, buddy.
Whoops. Okay, all right. Unhappily Ever After versus Growing Pains.
Unhappily
This one's
Ever
tough
After-
because Unhappily was a very like adult show, because it was
Yeah.
like Married with Children essentially, and then Growing Pains is Kirk Cameron.
And I loved Growing Pains, but now like I don't really like Kirk Cameron very much, and so that kind of plays into it. But I think I have to go Growing Pains.
Okay. All right, so on to the other side. Blossom versus Parker Lewis Can't Lose.
Parker Lewis all day.
Fuck yeah. I'm happy you like remember these. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a lot of like, I don't know that.
I bring these up to Megan all the time, and she's like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that. And I was like, you have not lived.
All right, well, I'm helping you vilify these then. Okay. Sister, Sister, Just the 10 of Us.
Ooh. Just the 10 of Us was solid, but I got to go Sister, Sister. I watched it way more with
Okay.
Roger. Is that the neighbor's name?
Yeah, he was in that rap group Another Bad Creation, I think.
Yeah,
ABC.
was that
They
it?
sang Aisha.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
You are the girl I never had. That's as far as
And I want to get to know you better. Anyway, all right, next up. Charles in Charge. Who's the boss?
Ooh. Another political one, but I'm going Charles in Charge.
Nice.
I love
Okay.
me some Tony Danza. Love
Yeah.
me some Tony Danza. These
All
are
right.
all good shows, by the way. Like all
Yes,
of them that
they
I've
are.
seen, they're all solid.
Okay. In the House. That was the one with LL Cool J, if you remember, where he was like a male nanny. Versus California Dreams, which is a Saved by the Bell era show.
Yeah, I gotta go with California Dreamin' or Dreams.
It was Dreams, because that was the
It was
name of the
Dreams?
band, California Dreams, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Coach, the one that started this idea, versus the Hogan family. Not to be confused with Valerie's family, which is...
Yeah,
you
Hogan
knew that's
family-
what it was, right?
Hogan Family, is that Jason Bateman?
Yeah. So the show was originally called Valerie's Family with Valerie Bertinelli, and then she got kicked off the show, so they're like, well, we can't do that
then
anymore.
they
So it's
put-
kind of like Roseanne.
Okay.
Like they had to change it to the Connors, yeah.
Why did she get kicked off the show?
I don't even remember. It was,
And then they replaced her with Sandy Duncan or whatever?
yeah, as like the aunt, I think, or whatever. But yeah, so
So
all right,
Coach
so
or
that
Hogan's
is
family?
Coach or Hogan family.
You know, honestly, I wasn't the biggest Coach fan in the world.
Okay,
I don't know if it's because it was like, it felt like it was like 10 seasons of, I don't know what it was. Like, Dauber was hilarious, of course.
Yeah.
But Hogan's Family is like one of the first shows I remember. And that, man, that's a tough one. That's the toughest one. I'm going to go with Hogan's Family.
okay. All right, next up, Small Wonder, Head of the Class.
Ooh, that's good. Small Wonder, though. That was the jam.
Okay.
Head of the Class was great. I was recently talking about that, too, because one of the actors was in something that I was watching recently, and I was like, oh, that guy's in Head of the Class, and Megan's like,
Wow.
what is that? And I was like,
I'm trying to think who was still. Well, Dabney Coleman. I think he was the teacher, right? So he's been in stuff.
I don't know his name, but it was like the cool guy. It was like the guy who
Oh,
wore the
Eric.
leather jacket. Yeah.
I think on this show his name's Eric, but yeah.
He was in something.
Okay. Awesome.
And that's how
All
I
right.
recognized him.
Hell yeah. All right. Family Ties, Roseanne.
Family Ties. I hate Roseanne as a
Yep.
show, and it's just never my thing.
All right. Last one. A Different World, which was the Cosby Show spinoff, versus Martin.
I'm going a different world. Whitley. Whitley was the greatest of all time. Dwayne Wayne with his flip-up glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, you ready for round two?
Ron, his friend Ron. Come on. That's a great show.
Yeah, I don't really remember him. Yeah. All right, you
Disappointing.
ready for round two?
Round two. Oh, so
right.
you've done yours and you already have your winner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll compare them after. All right. You got Home Improvement versus Mad About You.
A Home Improvement.
Yep. I started filling that out before you said it. All right. Living Single versus Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers.
Nice. All right. Third Rock from the Sun, Herman's Head.
Third Rock from the Sun. Sorry, Herman's Head.
Okay. Webster, Growing Pains.
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going Growing Pains.
Okay.
But it's a close one.
All right, on to the other conference. Parker Lewis Can't Lose versus Sister Sister. Never knew how much I missed you.
This is a great bracket for Parker Lewis matchup-wise, because I'm taking Parker Lewis again.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All righty. Charles in Charge, California Dreams.
I got to go with Charles in Charge. It was just a better show.
Yeah, it was. With Buddy Lembeck.
Hell
All right.
yeah.
The Hogan
Scott
family.
Ames? Is that his name?
No, Willie Ames.
Willie Ames. Willie Ames.
Which is awesome because there's a Major League Baseball player named Willie Adames, and if you just take the D out, it's spelled the same name as Willie Ames. It's awesome,
Wow.
because Ames is two A's. I mean, anyway, okay, all right. Hogan family versus Small Wonder.
Small Wonder.
Nice. All right,
It was
Family
like AI
Ties.
before AI.
Yeah, well, you're trying to get back on their good side, right?
That's right.
Okay, Family Ties versus A Different World.
Family Ties versus A Different World. I'm going A Different World.
Wow.
Family Ties, I was not the biggest fan in the world. It was a good show. I liked it, but I didn't watch regularly. It was like, even when I was young, I was like, these hippies. That's watching it. These hippies.
But dude, watching it now, like Alex P. Keaton is like such a shitbag character. Like, I mean, it's just like, it's so funny. Like Alex P. Keaton and the Young Republicans. You know, I think that's a band actually.
All the Reagan.
Yeah, so obviously I heard that somewhere. Yeah. And there was one when he was managing Jen's band, and they were called like the Swinging Corporate Raiders or something like that. I don't know, that was a great show. Okay, all right, so here we go. We're into our Elite Eight. Home Improvement versus Perfect Strangers.
Perfect Strangers.
Whoa, didn't see that. Okay, Third Rock versus Growing Pains.
Yeah, Third Rock.
All right.
Not to be confused with 30 Rock, which
I
is
was
also
just
a
going to say,
tremendous show.
Third Rock versus 30 Rock. All right, Parker Lewis Can't Lose versus Charles, Who's in Charge.
Parker Lewis making the run.
Oh, man, this is the
I love
frickin'
that
Cinderella
show.
story. Hell yeah, that was awesome. Was it Miss Musso? Was that the principal?
The
one that he
principal with the
hated?
red hair or whatever.
Yeah, who was kind of a babe, actually, for, like, her time.
Yeah.
Do you remember they used to hide in the lockers? Or they had, like, their base of operations, like, was behind the lockers. Like, they would go in and there was, like, a little room with computers and shit.
Yeah,
Awesome show. If anyone has never seen Parker Lewis Can't Lose, starring Corin Nemec, I believe was his name. Okay. Small Wonder, Different World.
Small Wonder, Different World. I'm going Small Wonder on this one.
Whoa. All right. Final four, buddy. Perfect Strangers versus Third Rock from the Sun.
This one hurts. This one hurts me. But I gotta go Third Rock. I watch Perfect Strangers now, like, on a weekly basis. I'll toss it on because it's a Pluto channel. So I'll just, like, randomly watch them. And I love them. They're great shows. You know, the Family Matters is a spin-off of Perfect Strangers.
I did not know that. Or maybe I did, like, right when it started, but...
Because the mom, Harriet, was the elevator operator in Perfect Strangers. So then they made Family Matters, which was supposed to be her show, and then Urkel became so popular that it became his show. And then her and Urkel still don't talk to this day because of, like, the hatred of... she was, like, jealous or I don't know what it is, allegedly, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's an interesting story to look into. But yeah, so Third Rock from the Sun.
Well, I'm going to actually, since you just said that, I'm just going to give a plug to one of my favorite podcasts, Jock and Nerd. Actually, their host, Imran, has, I guess I didn't even need to bring that one up, but he has this podcast he just finished, which is called Dance of Joy, which is the name of the dance they always do in that show. And yeah, him and his sister just finished their rewatch of Perfect Strangers. So keep that in mind if you're, I don't know, if you ever want a perfect, when you're done listening to Citizens of Pawnee, you can go to that one. All right. Anyway. Okay. All right. And the other one, Parker Lewis Can't Lose versus Small Wonder.
Wow. That's crazy. Because Parker Lewis Can't Lose was like the underdog show of my youth. And Small Wonder was like one of the shows where I would come home from school and it would be on and I would watch it.
Yeah.
So they're both like pretty up there as far as shows that are pretty down there.
Well played.
I'm going to go... I got to go with Small Wonder.
Whoa. Vicky
But
the Robot.
I do feel bad about it. But Small Wonder was a pretty... I was a regular watcher.
Okay. I mean, I think I know
And
where this
Third
is going to
Rock.
go. Yeah. Third Rock
Third Rock
versus
is your
Small
champion.
Wonder. Okay. Third Rock from the Sun. My champion was Family Ties, actually.
Okay, give me your final four.
My final four was Home Improvement, Dinosaurs, Charles in Charge, and Family Ties.
Okay, and Family Ties wins it all. Who won it between Home Improvement and Dinosaurs?
Home Improvement. Yeah.
Wow.
Because it's kind of like what you said with Home Improvement right when you started off. That was just like, because I actually kind of went back through and it's like Home Improvement probably should have won. It wasn't my favorite, but I think out of all these shows I listed, I think that might have been the one that I actually watched the most.
It was huge. It was a huge deal to that show, and we were like the age of the kids in that show, which I think like also helped us like relate to the show better. And then plus you had Pamela Anderson, and you had the other one.
Who was it?
Heidi.
Oh yeah, the brunette
From Tool Time. So, I mean, great show.
Awesome. All right, so your favorite show of all time is Third Rock from the Sun, and mine is Family Ties, apparently. So
we'll take it.
Good stuff. All right. So I guess let's quickly then try to go quickly with what we're putting inside ourselves. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to start this one off quickly. Sasha, I got an awesome fucking movie for you. If you have not watched this yet, this is an 85-minute movie starring Bob Odenkirk. Have you seen this movie? It is called Nobody. The one where he's... all right. So Bob Odenkirk, yes, the same one from Better Call Saul, he gets his movie where he gets to be the action star who's like a retired CIA
this is
agent.
new, right?
Yeah. No. The sequel will be new. There's a sequel coming out in August, Nobody 2 or whatever. So the first one is it's just like John Wick. Like the first John Wick, there's something happens and then it's like he gets involved and he beats the wrong people up and then that kid's dad is a mob boss and it's like, and you find out that Bob Odenkirk, again, I have to keep saying Bob Odenkirk looks fantastic in this movie. He's in shape, he's got hair, he looks good. But yeah, I mean like they do a pretty good job not being too over the top because it's like, yeah, he's 50 years old. So, but then again, so is Keanu Reeves for the John Wick movies. But in this one, it looks more like maybe a sped up version of me fighting now. So it's like, you got to make it believable. He's not doing backflips and shit, but he is,
and there's blades,
yeah, there's some great comedy in there too. Like his brother in the movie is RZA from Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then Christopher Lloyd's in it as well. But like I said, 80... Go ahead.
Sorry, I've seen him do press for this movie before because they were talking about, like, this is not, like, your regular style of movie. And he's like, I finally get to be an action star or whatever. Like,
yeah, so it's on, what is it on? Hulu, I think I just watched it on. So if you, it's like I said, it's a quick movie. Bob Odenkirk is just... He's such a funny actor, and he's great. So, all right. And then the other thing, I just watched this yesterday. You can call me the documentary guy. I watched another one on Netflix. This was Trainwreck, the Astro World tragedy. Have you heard about this one?
Okay.
Yeah, the one about Travis Scott. Yep.
Okay.
Well, This is, I think I woke up at like 5 yesterday, so it was like one of those things I'm just like, I'll watch it for the pod, I guess, so I can talk about this. Really happy I did. It was actually very good. I mean, it's sad, obviously, and this isn't a series. It's just one movie. It's an hour and 45 minutes or whatever. But anyone who's unfamiliar, this is about, from 2021, Travis Scott, the rapper, I didn't realize how fucking big this guy was. It's insane. Like, I had no idea he was this popular, but every year in Houston, he puts on a show called Astro World, and it's almost like a Riot Fest type things. There's rides there. It's like a giant carnival. There's other acts and everything, but the whole show always revolves around him. So in this incident, 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, 10 people died at this concert because they just got like basically crushed from like just crowd stampeding. And I mean, like, so when you watch the thing, I don't want to spoil anything because I definitely think people should, not like, oh, you guys need to check this out, but I mean, like, it's worth a watch. It's really good. They show when the concert actually starts, and I mean, they're showing you footage. It'll show him on stage doing his thing, going crazy, and then it'll show one half of the crowd jumping up and down, everyone's going, and then they'll cut over and you see cell phone footage of these people who are literally in a human pile. Like, it's just so disturbing to watch. And I mean, like, for me, someone who has asthma, like, I was getting, like, anxious watching this movie. I mean, it was a 9-year-old kid. That was the youngest kid, like, person who died. I mean, it's so sad. And then you kind of watch the investigation a little bit, and it's like, it's not really Travis Scott's fault. Actually, it's not his fault at all. Because, like, it's more on the promoters because, like, he didn't know what the hell was going on. Like, there was a scene where he actually saw someone getting, like, CPR. He kind of stopped, but, like, and he pointed it out, but I think when he saw someone was working on that person, that's when he kind of slowly started jumping back into the song. But, I mean, like, just the stories from the people that were in that pile or whatever, the ones, like, who lost friends and stuff, and I mean, like, it's always one of those things, though, when you watch a documentary, and it's just like, I wonder if these people feel bad, though, for getting a huge fucking lump of cash to talk about, like, how their friend died at this concert, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's just like, oh, you're a shit person for doing that, but it's like, that's got to be kind of, like, morally, like, ugh.
I wonder what the, like, you know, if they do pay them, or if they have to pay them, or, like, how all that stuff works.
I would assume so.
I don't know.
Yeah, but
I've heard of all that stuff. I've sold some Astro World shirts that I've found at Goodwill and stuff like that. But yeah,
do you know where that name comes from?
No.
It was a Six Flags that used to be in Houston. It was called Astro World, so they had to tear it down. And he like went to he went to meetings and stuff, and like I had to, hey, let's bring Astro World back. Much like Leslie Knope bringing back the Harvest Festival in Parks and Neck.
I didn't. I remember they were trying to sue Travis Scott and say like it was his fault for all this stuff, and I remember being like, you can't do that, because then any injury that happens at any live event, you could just sue the entertainer who's like up there. I don't know. It sets like the weirdest precedent of all time. But the promoter, on the other hand, if they have evidence that they didn't have enough security and and you know, guardrails and stuff like that, and like I don't know how that works, but I could see saying like, yeah, like Firefest, like you can sue Firefest, but you can't.
At least
sue
no one
Ja
died
Rule
at that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was definitely it. Because they showed you some like a couple like transcripts, like text message things, but it's like, is this fabricated for this podcast or the podcast for this documentary, or like did these things actually happen? And then also it's like, okay, we have transcripts of this stuff, but it's like, all right, there's no proof though that Travis Scott was actually delivered a message in his ear that said stop playing, which is what some people say. It's like, no, we were telling him to stop. But yeah, no, it's just it's a sad story. But one thing I did gain from it is that I think I might check Travis Scott's music out actually, because like I think he's more of like a hardcore rapper, or at least maybe some of his stuff. There's a lot of like headbanging and mosh pits and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a try.
Like, he's in the WWE on occasion.
Yeah, I went by my parents today, and my dad brought that up. I was like, I didn't know that.
I got no interest. Zero interest in a Travis Scott. I mean, in a documentary, yes, I think it's interesting, but knowing any more about Travis Scott, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all I got. So Nobody and Trainwreck, both thumbs up.
Cool. I got a couple things. I finished Alf, season 4. Finished it up. You know, Callie's been watching with me because she's got nothing else going on. Finished season 4 and then realized, no spoilers or anything, but they were supposed to have a season 5. So season 4 was a cliffhanger. And then season 5 was supposed to be like half the amount of episodes, but instead they canceled the show.
Okay.
So then they made an Alf movie, which picks up where the show ended, which is cool. Like, you get some closure. But I haven't watched the Alf movie yet.
That's interesting. I wonder if it was like a made-for-TV movie. And I don't think it was.
I think
theaters,
so.
Right?
No.
Okay.
I think it was made for TV. I kind of remember it like from when I was younger, but I didn't know it was like picking up where the TV show ended off. And like, I didn't remember the end of Alf, so it was kind of cool watching, you know, the end of a show that you don't know what's going to happen. In general, the show Alf is pretty bad. It's a lot of bad, but Alf the character is awesome. Like, I love Alf the character so much that I will sit through the horrible plot holes and the crappy writing of that show because Alf is tremendous. We're gonna have a new open to this show as soon as I stop being lazy, and I am influenced by the Alf open to this point where I'm like, I'm gonna be wearing a suit and playing a saxophone. That's all I'm gonna say. That's
okay.
I gotta find a suit and a saxophone. But anyway, so that I watched that. New comedy special came out.
All right, hold on. Give me a number 1 to 10 for Elf. Your overall. If I was like, Sasha, should I watch Elf right now? You would say, well, I'd give it a
6.
Okay.
I would give it a 6 because a 5 just means kind of halfway.
Yeah.
But you
want to give it a little bit of praise.
Yeah, and the character of Elf kind of bumps it up a little bit. And also, the Christmas episode with the suicide, that's a 10. That is a 10.
What about that and all white babies?
Yeah. There's some stuff Elf says that you're like, this is great. This is fantastic.
Okay.
I watched a comedy special that just came out, Joe List's Small Ball. It's a baseball reference. Joe List is a tremendous comedian. I'm a big fan, and this is his 4th special in the last 6 years, which is pretty incredible. That's a lot of joke writing. That's 4 hours of comedy that he wrote in 6 years.
Yeah, wow.
This is another great special, and it was actually recorded in Zany's Rosemont, Illinois, and Zany's Chicago. So it's kind of cool if you've ever been to those places to see someone performing in those. Started watching a couple matches of the FIFA Club World Cup. You're familiar with the World Cup, right? Where like America will take on Mexico or whatever. Well, now this year they're trying the FIFA Club World Cup. So it's like teams from like an MLS team, right? Miami.
Okay.
They have Messi. They have other players or whatever. And they'll go against like a Spanish team. And a French team will go against a German team. But it's not the countries. So it's just like the actual team. So it would be like if the Chicago Bulls went up against like a Greek professional or like a Serbian, Crvena Zvezda or something, you know. So it's these interesting matchups that you'll never get to see, or you'll rarely get to see. And they're doing that with club teams. So I was watching today Paris Saint-Germain versus, which is a French team, like one of the best, or I think the best French team, and they were going against Atletico Madrid, or maybe a different Atletico team. Doesn't matter, but it's just cool to see other countries' teams play. Not the national. It's not the best players that play for the national teams. It's like, this is your club team and this is their club team, and they get to play. So that just started. And then based on something you talked about here, last night me and Megan watched Falling Down.
Oh, with Michael Douglas?
With Michael Douglas. And
when did I talk about that?
I don't know. I feel like you brought it up at some point.
I mean, probably.
I don't know. Your memory is horrible. The other day you texted me and you're like, "Hey, have you heard of Turnstile?" I'm like, "We've talked about them 20 times on this podcast." And then a day after you sent me that, Kowalski sent me it, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of Turnstile?" I'm like, where have you guys been? Producer
Yeah.
Tony is a fan of these guys. We talked about someone shat in their mosh pit like a year ago. There's all kinds of turnstiles.
Okay.
They opened for Blink 182. Like, they blew up a long time ago.
Yeah, no, I came across something on Instagram, and I think I was expecting like a different type of music, and I was like, oh, this isn't bad, and I was like, oh, this is better than not bad, but sorry.
No,
we're just
it's all
terrible
good.
friends.
And a couple of their members went on to Angel Dust, which is like one of my favorite newer bands. So yeah.
Wait,
But
went
anyway,
on
watch Falling
to
Down.
Angel Dust. Are they not a band anymore? Turnstile?
No, they are. They just put out.
Okay,
a new
well, no,
album.
because you said they went on to form Angel Dust.
I think two of their guys were in Angel Dust, and then like they've both had many different members, so I don't know who's in what band anymore.
Gotcha. So it's like all in Descendants.
Yeah, kind of. And I think Angel Dust was supposed to be like a hardcore supergroup. Have you heard Trapped Under Ice?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the singer of Trapped Under Ice, I believe, is the singer of Angel Dust. I don't know. They're just like a mixture of hardcore bands and whatever. But Falling Down was tremendous. I watched this movie last night, and my favorite part, I was going to text you, but I didn't want to tell you that I was watching it.
Yeah.
He was just like standing there, and it was a giant Sir Mix-a-Lot ass in the background.
Oh,
it was,
nice.
it was like a record store promotion that was going on or whatever. This was an interesting movie. I thought it was really, really good. It kept my attention, and it was almost 2 hours. And I liked the ending. I liked everything. It was just weird because, like, I cheered for the guy at the beginning, and then as the movie goes on, you're kind of like, well, you're kind of, like, not a good person.
Yeah, no, he's terrible. He's awful.
Yeah, but,
Like, I mean, he's just having a bad day. It's just like, fuck
so
you,
is
dude.
Tony
We all have
Soprano,
bad
but, like,
days. Yeah.
I always cheered for Tony Soprano. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, this guy, like, by the end, I was like, this is a weird, creepy... whatever.
Yeah.
But really good movie. I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad you brought it up at some point. I'm glad you don't remember
Wow.
bringing it up.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think like what top three we would have been talking about, or like what either way. But I love the part when he's sitting on the rock and the gangbangers come up, and the guy's like basically telling him to get off, but he's like, he's like, you see that sign? He's like, it says da 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 da, move, motherfucker. He's just like, says all of that right there, you know, just like Michael. I just love him being such a like he doesn't give a shit.
He's still likable at that part. It's like earlier in the movie, and you're like, oh, he's a badass or whatever, and then it just gets like creepier and sadder. And you're like, this is weird.
Yeah, he gets more like
yeah.
Gross.
But yeah, that's all the stuff that I watched this week.
All right, buddy. Well, then I guess it is time for our top. And I don't know, do you have any bottoms?
I got a couple that I can mention. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so then we'll do our top and bottom. Brushes with greatness. Again, since I don't know what this means, I'm going to let you go first.
Yeah, we're going to go all over the place on this one. So I'm doing top 3 brushes with greatness, and I'm starting with people, right?
Okay.
And so the first one that I'm going to do was the time that I met Kirk Heinrich. I was a big Kirk Heinrich fan when he played at Kansas, even though I didn't like Kansas. As soon as the Bulls picked him, I was like, this is my guy. I'm in. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And I went to a festival in Chicago. It was called the Rhythm and Rims Tour. And it was like music and food and whatever. And Kirk Heinrich was there doing a signing. I keep looking up because I have the picture like literally hanging above me over here in my room.
Okay.
And I met him. And at the time, I kind of look like Kirk Heinrich. Like same build, same hair, same age. Yeah. Only I'm wearing a Break the Silence shirt, by the way, and I'm totally like fangirling, like nice to meet you, Kirk Heinrich. Meanwhile, we're the same age person.
Yeah.
And I had him sign a jersey for me. I don't know what happened to that jersey, but I do remember going to that festival. I went by myself, and when I got to that festival, there was also a cevaps, the Serbian meat, a cevaps stand. And I bought a cevaps t-shirt. It says cevapcici, which is how you pronounce it. And it had like the recipe of what's in it all on a shirt. It said, you can't beat our meat. It was the best shirt I've ever owned in my life. Well, and they are still around. They were doing a festival last week, and I saw that they were there. And I'm like, I got to go get some more cevaps. It's been 20 years since I went to their stand or whatever. So yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay.
So explain your top 3, and then...
All right, so
is yours different?
All right, so my top 3, I have 3. It's really weird because I feel like all of mine are almost like that saying, every cloud has a silver lining, except mine are all like, every silver lining has a cloud, because I feel like all of my top ones are awesome things I did, and then I'm like, but, and then I have like a caveat, for actually why it kind of sucked. And then I have celebrities as well. So I guess I'll just start with my experiences, and then my first one is I bowled a perfect game in bowling. Obviously, I bowled a 300. The only problem was...
I did not know that.
Well, that's okay, because it was 9-pin no tap, which is when you only have to knock 9 pins over to get a strike. And your cousin was actually, your cousin Nick was in this league with me, and I don't think he told me that beforehand, that it was this kind of league, because it's just like, what the hell are we doing here? But yeah, I bowled a 300, which is actually, I don't know what that would be, 9s all the way across the board. And the whole place went nuts, and I couldn't understand why, because it's like, again, this is not a 300. But yeah, you know what? I was great that day. So
wait, so 9-pin no tap means if you bowl a 9, it counts.
If you knock 9 pins over, even if you leave 1 pin standing up, it still counts as a strike.
Counts.
Yeah. But if you knock like 8 over and leave 2, then you got to pick up the spare. Otherwise, it's just an 8. But yeah, so this is a real thing, and I didn't know that till the league started. It's like, really, fucking people. Nothing against Nick for signing us up for that, but I was still just like, I didn't know this was a thing. However,
it's like
I bowled the
telling
300.
people you're a skater, but then they find out you're a rollerblader. They're like, oh,
all right.
that doesn't count.
All right, you know what? Let's talk about how excited you got when you met your Peloton instructors, all right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
They're good people, healthy people. Number 2 for me, I'm going back to the people aspect of this. So my mom and I went to Philadelphia one time to go. One of my cousins was working in Philadelphia, and he was from Serbia, and he came and he was working in Philadelphia, and we were like, hey, we're gonna come meet you. It was my mom's cousin, my uncle, and we're gonna come see you. And like, he couldn't get off of work, like he was just nonstop working, just living in a small apartment, trying to save up as much money and send it back to Serbia or whatever. So we're like, all right, we'll take a trip and we'll go see him. So we go to Philadelphia and we go to a hotel. Once again, this is just me and my mom, and I'm like, I know the Bulls were in the playoffs at the time. I'm definitely older than 21, so I'm ready to go out drinking by myself and see what I can do in Philadelphia, and who I can find and what sort of trouble I can get into. But it's weird because me and my mom are sharing a hotel room, so like,
yeah,
I'm going to come home drunk or whatever. A little bit weird, But we get to the hotel, and the elevator opens. And we walk into the elevator, and I'm like awestruck, like my jaw drops, and I'm standing next to my mom, and she can see that something's up with me. And then the person, they can kind of like look at me and tell that I know them or whatever. Mm-hmm. Have I told you this story? Have you heard this story before?
I don't think so.
Okay, so the person just looks at me, and in a completely broken language, they tell me, we're all going to be at Tiki Bob's tonight. And that's what they said. And I was like, cool. And this guy was wearing like wristbands.
You sure he wasn't talking to your mom?
He was with somebody else who was, I don't know if it's his friend, his handler, I don't know what it was. But it was just the 4 of us in this elevator. I clearly knew who it was. And they could tell that I knew. And my mom assumed that it was a professional wrestler because I was a big wrestling fan at the time. This was Don Vito from Bam Margera's uncle.
Nice.
And
okay.
Yeah, so he was like, we're going to be at Tiki Bob's. That's all he said. And I didn't say like, cool, see you there or anything. It was just like nodding and being like, all right, this is really weird. So then the elevator stopped and he left with the guy. And then we went up to where our room was, like the next floor or whatever. And as soon as like the door closed or whatever, I was like, Mom, do you know who that was? And she goes, was that Dusty Rhodes? And I loved that my mom knew who Dusty Rhodes was to take a guess. And that's not a bad guess if you like
it's
don't
not.
know. That's like a pretty accurate size of a person.
I was just thinking about that. I was trying to remember like what he looked like, but yeah, definitely. Yeah. He was bigger than Dusty, but
so that night I end up walking all around Philadelphia. I'm trying to find Tiki Bobs. This was like before cell phones. You didn't just like look stuff up. I'm asking people. I'm watching the Bulls game. I'm talking to people about like NBA playoff basketball while trying to find Tiki Bobs. Nobody knows where it is. I finally talked to somebody who told me where it was, and I went there, and I had either just missed them or they were coming later, and I wasn't going to wait for it. I don't remember what happened. And then I stumbled back to the hotel room and went to sleep, and my mom was one of the many times she's been disappointed. So that's my number 2. Brush with greatness, the greatness that is Don Vito.
Don Vito. Okay. Let's see which one I want to go with next. All right, we'll just pull this one out. All right, so you remember the, I don't know, I guess post-hardcore, almost screamo, I don't know, band Finch? You remember them?
Yeah, the name.
Okay, they were on
a fan or anything.
Yeah, they were on Drive Through Records. They had a couple like hit songs, whatever. They were really popular for a little bit. They kind of had a connection with The Used. I think that's how they got kind of popular. But anyway, we went to see those two bands many, many years ago, The Used and Finch. And they were playing at the House of Blues, and one of my friends that I was with, I will not say his name, but he dealt narcotics at the time, and we were buying merchandise, I believe, and like one of my buddy overheard someone back there, someone with their merch talking about how we got to find bud, we got to get weed, whatever, and my buddy's like, well, I can get you some. So then it was like, okay, we watched the concert, and it's like, all right, afterwards, come back to the hotel, which was the House of Blues. So the House of Blues hotel, the bass player from Finch is just like, yeah. So he's like, we were in contact with him. We met him and we went up to his hotel room in the House of Blues. So we were partying with the bass player from Finch. This was actually going to be in my bottom 3 because it was one of the boringest fucking nights of my life. However, it was a brush with greatness because he, obviously he had some fame there. But I remember, so there was 4 or 5 of us in the group, so we're all up in the room, and I didn't smoke weed at the time. So I'm not having a good time. There's no alcohol or anything, because like this guy, I think he's just a stoner. So we probably had whatever we were coming down from the concert. But it's like now I'm just sitting there sober in the room. My brother or one of the other guys, because it was a 2-night show, he's like, hey man, do you think you could get us into the show tomorrow? And the guy's like, yeah, I could put you guys on the list. So 3 or 4 of the people in our group said it, and then he looked to me, and I'm like, nah, man, I got work tomorrow. It was just like, I did not, it's like, I'm not interested. I do not want to come back and do this again. And then my buddy Jose, actually, he was with us too, and he was kind of like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry, I can't. Like, it was like, thank you for offering, but no, we're good, man. And at one point, one of the other band members from Finch came into the room and was like making fun of us, because he was like the straight edge guy in the band. And it's like, I'm just kind of sitting there, and it's like, I'm not even fucking high, man, and now it's like I'm being made fun of. And it's like, yeah. So, partied with the bass player from Finch.
Okay, solid. So this is going to take me to my number 1, which was not necessarily a person as much as it was a group of people. This is a wrestling one, but you don't need to know the wrestlers in order to enjoy the story. I don't believe. I went to see a company called ECW in Milwaukee, at the Rave in Milwaukee.
Yep.
And so they're doing their show up there, and I had a ticket that was like, we used to get like either front or second row, third row seats. Like, we were always up very, very close for ECW, but we would go with a group of 5, and we'd all be sitting in different spots, or a group of 2 and a single person here and whatever. So that's what it was for this show. And I think in this show, maybe I only bought a balcony ticket, so I wasn't even like close up. So I was just kind of walking around all over the rave and seeing like the different angles of the show and going all over the place. And so I went, and I was on the balcony, and I walk all the way around, and I found this door, and I go down the door, and you have to like walk down a bunch of stairs, and I keep walking down, and I end up underneath the venue, right? So it's like the basement
the
of
bowels
the venue.
of the rave, huh?
And I kind of realized that like this is not like a pedestrian like exit. I'm not supposed to be here. They just didn't have a security guy by the door. I don't know what it was, but like it wasn't really near people. It was kind of far away from where people were sitting on the balcony. And so I just wandered down. And as I kept going further and further down, I just kept walking by wrestlers, ECW wrestlers that I knew.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my God. And I got to the point I saw this guy, Chili Willy, and he was like working out on the stairs or whatever. I got all the way down to the basement. There was some sort of meeting going on that I was like, all right. And then I turned back and I started walking up the stairs. And so now I got back to like the ground level, and there was like a door that was, it led to the outside of the stadium. And walking into the place is a guy named Sandman. You've probably heard of Sandman. He's been around a long time. Hardcore hack for a while. He was in WWE, WCW, ECW, all the stuff. So he's been around for a very long time. He used to come out to Enter Sandman and just like go through the crowd and drink beer and pour beer on people. It was just like a big party guy. So he walked in, and he's known as like, I mean, he's got a huge gut. He's not in shape. He just used to hit people with a cane. Like, he doesn't seem like the smartest person in the world. But apparently he's known as like a very like up to news, like political, smart, like has money in stock markets guy, whatever it is. So he walks into the building and I see him and I'm like, hey, Sandman, whatever, can I carry your bag? And he just had a duffel bag or whatever. And he goes, yeah. So he hands me a duffel bag. And then from the other hand, a 24 case of Budweiser.
Nice.
And I look, and on the top of the bag was like, it was open, but not, it was like unzipped, and you could see kind of like stuff inside, but whatever. There was a Wall Street Journal, which was like the funniest thing to me, because this guy is like, he is not, that's not what you think when you see him.
It'd be like one of the bushwhackers having
And, you brought up the bushwhackers. I drove them in my car one time. One of them like lost his tooth in the back seat of my car and was just like completely trashed my car. The other one up front was reading about yachting, like completely two different guys. And he was like asking me,
like sailing, yachting. Okay,
sailing, yeah. And he was like asking me about my relationship with my parents and all this stuff. Like he was just like sharp and like.
Was
attentive.
that Luke or Butch?
Luke was the attentive one. Butch was. Wait, no, other way around. Butch was the attentive one. Luke was in my back seat and lost his tooth.
Off in outer space, just
yeah.
head out the window, just.
They were so nice too.
That's awesome.
So Sandman hands me his bags and his beer, and he's like, "Yeah, follow me." So I follow him into a small little hallway that's like, I mean, it's pitch black at this point. And we walk past Sally Graziano, who was like a 500-pound Italian guy at the time. Wow. He was just sitting by himself in this small room. And I'm just following Sandman, and I'm like, I don't know what to expect here. There's also like etiquette. Like, you don't really go into a locker room if you're a normal person. It's not a thing. Like, you have to be brought back there. And so I walk back. Sandman's leading the way, and I walk behind him. And it felt like everybody in the backstage area. So you've been to the rave. You've seen the stage.
Yeah.
The stage was their backstage. So they had curtains like up blocking it. And everybody who wrestled there was on the stage practicing their match, talking about what they were doing. But they were behind the curtains and all that stuff. And so I'm standing there. Paul Heyman, who ran it, was in the middle. They set up like him in the middle, and then everybody else was around. And I remember seeing Tajiri and FBI and all these guys that I loved all of these people. This is like my heroes at the time. Mm-hmm. And we walked back, and it totally felt like they were like, who is this person and why is this person back there? But they saw that I was with Sandman, so then they all kind of like went back to their thing. Yeah. And yeah, so that's my number one. It was just like the most amazing moment to me at the most amazing time. I was never even a big Sandman fan back in the day, but it was just like all of this is insane. Mm-hmm. So then I went after that, and I think I got Pee-wee. It was either Pee-wee or Putski, and I was like, come on, follow me. And I led him back to the staircase where I was before, and we went back down, and we saw more people and different people, and so like the night continued, and we saw some more people, and I was like, dude, this is insanity. And it was just a crazy, crazy moment. So, so that's my number one.
Man, that was a good number one. Like, I almost want to just jump into my potent notables right now. Yeah, because like actually my number one probably should have been the Finch guy. Also partied with the lead singer of the Plain White Tees way
Okay.
back when because they're from Lombard actually, which is like a town over from where I'm at.
Last night they played Oswego Fest.
Oh wow. Well, I don't know if
Yeah.
that's good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know either. I wasn't a big fan.
Yeah, no, I never cared for the band, but no, I remember a girl I was dating back in high school. She was having a party, and like we didn't even know who these guys were at the time. But I mean, like actually, it was kind of one of those things, like oh, they're a local band, Plain White Tees, Plain White Tees, and obviously the name kind of stands out because I do remember like when I heard them on the radio, I was like, oh, I fucking know those guys, or at least I know that one guy that told me 50 times that he was in the Plain White Tees.
Dude,
I don't even know what
that's the successful like bands, the ones that like pester you and annoy you to no end, because that's what Much the Same did to me.
Oh, really?
Gunnar from Much the Same, I would see him at every show, and he was always handing me a flyer, and then I was always handing him an Egg Roll Willie flyer. And like his were like good flyers. They'd be playing with like Rise Against and Bigwig, and I'd be like, yeah we're playing with Michael J. Fox and the Young Republicans or whatever. It's like, it just sucked that they were on every show, and it was just like they annoyed you to no end because of how many shows that they were on. It's like the same thing.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. So I'll just go into my potent notables then, because like I said, I kind of some of them were people and some were not. I remember in junior high, I hit a game-winning single up the middle in a suspended game when I was on the Astros. That was good. We were down by 1 run. I came up to bat, knocked the 2 runs in, and we won. But then we played we got into the playoffs the next game and lost, and we were out. In 8th grade, I won the Art Award, which was my 3 years, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at Glenside Middle School. Won the Art Award. However, Byron Goff is how that's what the plaque said, actually. And then I actually 30 40 minutes later graduated to Byron Goff is what I was called. I'm 99% sure I saw former White Sox trainer Herm Schneider at Woodfield Mall.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but this one I know this is like it might be nothing, but it was one of those things where like
Schneider is greatness.
Yeah, the White Sox trainer. Yeah, man. You saw him waddling out to the field all the time. But no, it was one of those things where like Joni and I were at the mall and like I walked by and like I recognized the face, so I did like the kind of my head turning, and he did the same thing to me, probably like yeah, like well, for one it's like why are you looking at me, but also like yes, that's who I am, because then I kept walking and I did another turnaround to check and I saw he was still looking at me, so I don't know if he wanted me to come up to him or like to acknowledge who he was. So
you know what? I take it back, because greatness means anything, because I've given you Don Vito and Kirk Heinrich. So,
yeah.
you know.
And then the last thing I had, I actually talked about it when it happened, which was a few months ago. This would be like on my bottom, and that was winning my Super Bowl for my fantasy league this year, but then losing because of a tiebreaker.
Okay, so you took it as like the greatness in your
the greatness
life.
of winning the championship.
Okay,
but another team also won the championship with you, so.
Yeah. I'll give you my potent notables as far as people that I've met. Vlade Divac, I met him at a Serbian church when I was younger.
Nice.
I did meet Dusty Rhodes when I wrestled back in the day, like went down to Nashville, and he was wrestling Jerry Lawler in the main event of this show at the Nashville Fairgrounds, and I was wrestling the opening match before the show with my dear friends. The Phoenix Twins were there, and Kurt the Strangler Jensen, aka Casey James, and Pee Wee refed it. So like we were all down there.
That's awesome.
But when we got into the building, like we were led to a room with Dusty Rhodes in it. It was like an 8x6 room, but like it was his room. Like nobody else was allowed to go in there, and we all shook his hand, and that was cool because I was a huge Dusty fan growing up. And then Steve Carino is another guy from ECW, another wrestler. I actually went to dinner with him and a group of guys because we wrestled on the same show as him, and that was incredible. Like I sat next to him. I ate next to greatness to me, and he told us all these wrestling stories about going to Japan and stuff, and so that one stuck out. Like that's one that I remembered. Just like that I remember that moment. And then I had this moment happen this week. I was sitting waiting for paperwork at a place. So like I drive a truck for a living, and I have to wait for paperwork for some stuff that I deliver. And they're making the paperwork. All of a sudden, the door, there's a knock, and so that takes the person who was making the paperwork away from me. So now I'm stuck there even longer waiting. And I hear this voice, and it's a salesman, and he's like a logistics guy. He's like, "Oh, we're at this logistics company in Elk Grove, and blah blah blah, and I've, just like trying to sell his company, whatever." And I'm like, "All right, buddy, like hurry up, like give him your card and get out of here. Like I need this paperwork so I can go. Like you're holding me up." And then I hear him go, "Yeah, I used to play for the Cubs, and I was a broadcaster." And then that caught my ears. I was like, wait. So who is this? Is this, I don't know. I can't name old Cubs. Rick Sutcliffe? Mm-hmm. Who is this?
Ryan Sandberg.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, who is this person? And I'm listening. I don't hear a name, but I do know that he gave his card to the guy who is making my paperwork. So I'm sitting there, and he goes, "Yeah, I used to work for like FedEx Logistics, and then I live in Wheaton, Illinois. I used to take the train down to the station, to Wrigley Field, and like that's a long commute. If you don't know, that's like you have to get on the red line and go whatever it is. And so then whatever he's standing outside." I now get pissed because the guy that is doing my paperwork leaves. So he leaves the sales guy right by the door. He goes outside to talk to another trucker. I've got coffee in my truck that is getting cold. So I'm like, I'm going to drink my coffee. So I leave, and as I walk out, I see this guy. He's taller than me. He's probably like 6'6" or something. And I look and I say hello, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" I'm pretty good. Just like random hello talk. I go to my truck. I come back. By the time I come back, I drink my coffee. I come back. The guy was gone. And the guy doing my paperwork is just finishing up. And I go, "Hey, who was that guy?" And he goes, "He used to play for the Cubs." And I was like, "Yeah, I heard the whole thing. Who is it?" And he gave me the guy's card, and it said Dave Otto. And I'm like, "I know the name Dave Otto.
Wow.
I've heard that name before." And so that happened this week on this Brush with Greatness episode that we're doing. Which, like, once again, I don't know what the word greatness means, but it's just like a celebrity from the town that you're in here. So that was pretty cool and interesting. So then I immediately texted Giuseppe in Milan because we were talking about comedy. And I was like, "Hey, do you know who Dave Otto is?" And he's like, "Not unless you're talking about the old baseball player." And I'm like, I am talking about the old baseball player. So that was
You should have
interesting.
texted Useless Dave. I bet he would have loved it.
Yeah, hopefully
Just that you
he
were
hears
texting
this.
him about baseball.
Yeah. And then my worst three people that I've met: CM Punk, bag of trash when I met him.
So he's not the GOAT?
No. Unless the goat is made of trash.
Okay.
Is that the T? Is that the T in goat? He was just a trash human being to a person who was a fan of his at the time, and for no reason at all. I'm sure he's grown as a person, but I don't care. Also, Ric Flair. My favorite wrestler at the time, went to go meet him and didn't even look up. Like, I have a picture of me looking at Ric Flair signing an autograph because he wouldn't even look up to sign autographs. And Goldberg was there, who I hated at the time and not really a big fan, never was a fan of Goldberg. He was like the nicest person, walked around the table, hugged you, took a picture with you. And so I gained a lot of respect for Goldberg that day. And then also Mick Foley was another one in my bottom three. I went with two of my friends to Tower Records to meet him, and he wouldn't shake my hand because I didn't buy his book. But I was with someone who had the book. Like, we were all kind of walking up there, but apparently he wanted us all to buy the book to meet us. And so I was like, all right, I've had enough of Mick Foley. So yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm sure they're all nice people, and it's like the weird part of being a fan of people is like sometimes you meet them and there's rules in place and blah, blah. So I don't know, but not CM Punk. CM Punk.
Was that
just a bad
Have a Nice
person.
Day? That was the name of the book, right?
Yeah.
Good stuff. Cool. All right.
So now let me ask you: do you have any more? Anything?
You know what? There was one that I thought of, actually. You remember the band Bleeding Through? The metal band Bleeding Through?
Yeah.
They were playing, I think, at the Bottom Lounge. But was the Bottom Lounge, like, was there a different one before?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Because I remember it being at the Bottom Lounge, but it wasn't the current one. Anyway, they were playing a show with Death by Stereo, who you and I are going to see in a few weeks with a couple listeners of the show. Actually, anyone, if you want to go see Death by Stereo and Strung Out with us, July 1st. It's a Tuesday night. But anyway, Death by Stereo, one of my favorite bands, and then Bleeding Through I was a big fan of. I remember, so the Bottom Lounge had like a basement, like that's where the bathrooms were. And I was down there, just taking a leak, whatever. And I came out, and like right around the corner, the band was down there taking pictures, like for a magazine or something. And so it was cool because it's like I just walked out, and I don't think anyone else was down there. That's probably why they were doing it at that time. But it was just like, oh shit. And like Marta, who plays keyboards for them, was like pretty hot. And I was probably loaded because I remember like telling her, I'm like, I'm going to marry you someday. And she was like, oh, like, dude did one of those. But the rest of the guys in the band like looked like they wanted to slaughter me.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. But yeah, it was just kind of funny because watching them do band photos, it was like one of the lamest things for me to actually see because they looked over and when they saw me watching, you could tell they were kind of like, dude, get the fuck out of here. There's nothing cool what we're doing. It's literally they take a picture and then you pose, like you turn your body, take another picture, move your hand, take it, yeah, man, I probably have a lot of like band stuff. Yeah, guys we've run into at concerts. Like when you were talking about Ric Flair being an asshole. I remember the lead singer and I think the guitarist both from Every Time I Die were kind of pricks. Same thing. It's like you're trying to talk to them, but they're like trying to talk to like the hot chicks. So I guess I can't blame them. But it's still just like, yeah, that would probably be most of my brushes with greatness would just be people I've talked to like in passing. Yeah, I don't know, man. The wrestling thing kind of won this one for you big time.
Oh, thanks, I guess. It's not a...
Yeah, we need to start having a winner for every episode. Who has a better list?
Okay, I like that. Leave us a message. Who had the better list? 1-727-266-6469.
Also, we need you guys to let me know, was this list worse than my carnival foods list?
I don't even know that we've done a top 3. We gave like an odd number of things, like 14 items here. I also, weird. By the way, I still have top 3 like greatness that I witnessed list, which I'm not going to do now. We're already at an hour and a half. This is insanity.
Oh my God,
this
are we
is
really?
Yeah, this is why I can't do Zoom stuff. So next week, I believe you have already picked what next week's topic is, correct?
Yes, I did. Since we're not pulling from the bucket, I just came with one off the top of my head, actually. And we're going to do top... This is so lame, but I guess it can't be worse than phone apps. We're going to do our top like value or discount stores. So we're talking discount like Aldi's, TJ Maxx, things like that. Anywhere you can go to save money. And we're not talking about like using the McDonald's app to go to McDonald's or anything like that, but places that sell discount stuff. It could be food, clothing, whatever you want.
And that does sound horrible. So I'm also going to do my top 3 greatness things that I witnessed greatness because I never got to them. I have them still on this list. So we'll do the value stores.
I'm sorry about that.
No, it doesn't matter. It's just like we both had different ideas of what this was, and we don't talk. So I love it. Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I spent a lot of time on my stupid brackets. So we did. If you gained anything from this show, you know that Sasha's favorite '80s show was Third Rock, and mine was Family Ties. But again, sorry to go back to the bracket. Just it's funny how this ends up because it's just like that's not Family Ties isn't my favorite even on this list, but that's just how it works out. Like with matchups, you know. Yeah, it's
and that's
crazy.
Why Al Bundy, Ed O'Neill is king, and that's how we roll.
He's the king. That's the king. We can, Anyway, all right. So next week, top 3. I already forgot what it is. What is it?
Top 3 bargain discount stores.
Yeah.
And I'm going to finish my top 3 brushes with greatness events that I've been a part of. Man, how am I going to fit all that onto a YouTube thumbnail? We'll figure it out. Doesn't really matter. Check out our merch, sasaandgoffmerch.com. Leave us a message, 1-727-266-6469, or just send us your favorite CM Punk pictures. Preferably the one where he got beat up after the UFC event. That's for Shug. I got to send that to Shug. Anyway, thank you guys. This is why we don't do Zoom. 93 minutes is insanity, and we will see you next week.
I'm sorry. I usually at this point say later. Right now, I just have to point out the whole time, Sasha. If you look at your screen right now, the wave from the Swellers banner looks like you have a wave like on the top of your head. So I keep looking at your hair being like a white, like, ugh.
I look like the guy who was in MC Hammer's Backup Dancers. Do you remember that guy? He had like a crazy hair.
Probably.
Anyway, see you guys next week.
Later.